Hello, everybody. This is Kerry coming at you with a week ahead look. It's June 1st today. This will be June 1st through the 7th. Today's Sunday. What you're seeing up there is the chart for 7 a.m. this morning. It's this afternoon now that I'm doing this. But first thing I want to talk about is maybe the last couple days, because I get reports from people about things, and I want to draw your attention to the Moon and Mars combination there that you see, the MA and the MO. That's the sign of Cancer, and that's where Mars has been for a while. And as you can see, the degrees are exactly conjunct this morning. It's already while I'm making this, the Moon has already moved to Leo. But this was from this morning. So the Moon had been in Cancer for a couple days with Mars. And if you were frustrated, if there was anger, if there was deep emotions and frustration, that might have been why. So FYI, things are going to already different. So the other thing I want to point out is Venus up there in the top row. If you're looking at the top chart, Venus moved to Aries. You can see it's 1 degrees 10. So that happened this past week. So now we have this new environment of Venus has just moved to Aries. And then later this week, on the 6th, which is Friday, we're going to have both Mars and Mercury changing signs on that day, the 6th. So, we finally got all of the outer planets clicked into place. The last one to go was Rahu and Ketu. You can see the 2946 for Rahu there. That's the true node, which I look at when we're doing transits. So Saturn moved, Jupiter moved, Rahu and Ketu have moved. Everything's clicked into place. Now we have the inner planets all moving around. And this is the week that Mars finally leaves Cancer. It's been there for a long time. And then Venus has gotten into Mars's sign, the fire sign of Aries. So that's also feeling a little challenging because Venus being in a fire sign is a little rough. Venus is more of an earth air sign guy. And so again, Venus being in Aries can bring up frustration in the same way that Mars being in Cancer can bring up frustration. So, try to cool your jets in some way and still get things going. The other thing that keeps coming up in my mind I want to share with you is now that Venus has gone out of Aries, Saturn alone is remaining in Pisces. You can see in the upper left corner of that top box, that's Saturn in Pisces, really conjunct with Neptune. I don't really normally do the outer planets, but you can't help but notice that Saturn and Neptune are very conjoined right there. So that said, and maybe it's the Neptune part too. It feels like the train is rolling. I keep using that analogy, but with Mercury going into Gemini and Mars moving into Leo, it's kind of like, yeah, things are happening, you guys. We're moving ahead. Like, you have to somehow find where you're going to put your next step ahead of you. But that Saturn in Pisces feels like a heavy weight for a lot of people. It feels like the demand is we have to, on one hand, go forward and do our lives, but on the other hand, there's this weight over here. It might be grief, it might be illness, it might be disappointment of some kind. But with all of the excitement that has been going on in Pisces since February and March, now it's quiet in there. And it's like all of the hullabaloo of all of that stuff happening in Pisces was possibly a distraction from that thing that Saturn in Pisces is representing in your particular chart, which feels really heavy and sad and like something needs to be processed. So maybe that's part of the project this week, is figuring out how do I manage that emotional processing that needs to go on, while at the same time going forward on my path and being enthusiastic and etc. So if you're feeling that dichotomy of energies, that might be why. So that's intense. Okay, so this is the Sunday chart. I'm clicking over to Monday. Monday, you can see that oh wait, that's not right. That's already Tuesday. Hold on. Okay, that was 30 days. Hold on, let me just fix my thing. Okay. All right, so this is today, Sunday. All right, let's go back. Now this is tomorrow, Monday. So you can see well, it's sometime today, right? Moon is moving into Leo. So Monday and Tuesday, we're going to have Moon in Leo with K2. The moon is waxing right now, heading toward a full moon on June 11th. When the moon is with K2, we can make mistakes, just so you know. So Monday and Tuesday with the moon in K2, just take a little extra time, look around, make sure you're not reacting emotionally to things, which can cause mistakes as well. So just a heads up for that. Monday and Tuesday. This is Tuesday. You can see the moon is closer to K2 on that day, so maybe even more potential for mistakes. And look, look at those degrees of Mars, 28 degrees, Mercury, 25 degrees. I round up. Those are just pending to move on Friday. So we're at Monday and Tuesday. Take it slow. Moon with K2. Okay. Wednesday, moon goes to Virgo. Wednesday and Thursday, we're going to have moon in Virgo, which means what? It's opposite Saturn. So we're going to have like Monday, Tuesday, moon with K2. Wednesday, Thursday, Saturn opposite the moon. So it could feel like a lot this week. It could feel like, wow, I have a lot to do and things aren't all bad, but I'm remembering past things and why are these memories slowing me down? So that could be part of the equation on Wednesday and Thursday. Yeah, anyway, so that's it. This is Thursday, so not much has moved. Yeah, there's Thursday. Take a look. Moon in Virgo. Okay. And then Friday, a lot goes on. Okay. So let me point out right now the sign of Libra. Okay. The sign of Libra is, I'm pointing to it here. That's Libra. Right now, before Mars and things move, Jupiter is aspecting Libra and Mars is aspecting Libra and Rahu. So that's getting a lot of influence, even though there's not planets in there. It's a lot. So if Libra, whatever Libra is for you, could feel like there's a lot of intensity going on in that realm of your life. Oh yeah, Venus also. Venus is also hitting Libra. So at the time, like even though there's no planets in there, we got Rahu, Venus, Mars, and Jupiter all hitting Libra this week. So keep that in mind. Libras, maybe you're going to do something amazing. No pressure. Right, this is Thursday. Okay. Friday. This is Friday at 7 a.m. in Washington, D.C. So you can see that our friend Mercury has jumped over into Gemini on the upper right corner of that chart. This sets into motion a Mercury-Jupiter combo for most of the rest of June. So use that wisely. Good for education, good for managing finances, good for many things. Rahu's also aspecting that combination at this point, not tightly. But I would say beware of getting involved at the moment. Be aware of getting involved in programs and courses and education that might seem really exciting at the moment, but you might lose interest in it. And I'm not trying to quell your enthusiasm, but I'm just saying you can get really excited right now about starting new things and learning everything. So just be realistic about things. All right, so this is the morning of Friday, June 6th. And look at the moon. It's 28 degrees Virgo. So at some point on Friday, Mercury moves into Gemini, Mars moves into Leo, and then moon will move into Libra. There it is. Okay, so this is actually Saturday, June 7th. But this is the new setup for, let's say, next week. We'll talk about it next week. So we still have energy coming into Libra, by the way. Venus, Rahu, and Jupiter are all aspecting Libra, which could feel a little bit better now that Mars isn't looking in there. So yeah, Libras, I'm just a heads up, just telling you. And then the other thing is, too, when Mars moves into Leo, That's intense. Look at the Mars and K2 combination, and it's just going to get tighter and tighter as Mars moves through Leo, which is going to be all the way through July. It's a little short, slow train Mars is on. Um, but that is very fiery energy. Mars, fiery. K2, also fiery. Leo, also fiery. So, just watch the fire sources, I would say. Plus Venus being the water element ruler and the natural firefighter amongst the planets, being in a fire sign, slightly high fire danger, just saying. Anyway, so that's all the way through the week. Hope this was helpful and or entertaining for you. I'll check you next Sunday. Thanks. Bye.